So guys, I am so sorry that this is so late. My DVR didn't record it. I don't know if you guys who have DirecTV go through this as well, but DirecTV just sometimes just doesn't record episodes. Like, I have to now check every day to make sure that my show is recording, because it'll kick it out if for whatever reason. And it's not that I have too many things being recorded. I've checked, I've deleted things, I've made space. I have more than enough space to record more shows. It just sometimes decides when it will and when it won't record something. So now I'm actively checking. I'm actually now watching a rerun episode of episode 2. That's why this is so late. But thanks for showing me love on my first review. I hope I get the same kind of love on this one. So without further ado, let's get into this review. So you know what? I think I need to get in a relationship and break up with him, because if this is the revenge body that you get after a good breakup, then baby, let me, you know what, let me not set myself up for that heartbreak. I rebuke that in the mighty and the matchless name of Jesus. But Evelyn looks great. She looks great. Even her confessionals, she looks a lot better. I feel like I said before, she was a baseball on the rise to be a baseball wife, and they have to be a bit more conservative than any of the other athlete kind of wives, because that's the top tier, that's the most money, that's kind of the upper echelon of the sports. Not next to tennis, but they don't get the same kind of money as baseball players. They're the wealthiest, right? And I feel like she was with them, so she had to be a bit reserved, and I could tell that they were having issues towards the end of last season, because we started to see the old Evelyn come out and she wasn't afraid to release that. And I think that that's because she was walking out of that relationship, or that relationship was breaking up, and she kind of knew some things were going on. So she was able to be more of herself, because she was no longer in the constraints or constraints. Y'all know what I mean, of about to become a baseball wife. So now we get to see a bit of her come back, and she seems happier, and you know, she just looks good. She looks really, really, really good. And I feel for her with them embryos. That's the thing, man. If you're going to do IVF, be sure that you are with the right partner, because this is pretty common, especially in the industry and with people who have money. They freeze these embryos, they create this embryo and they freeze it and they inject it or whatever. It doesn't work, the relationship gets on the rocks, and then you have these embryos left, right? And you're like, what am I going to do? The same thing happened to Sofia Vergara and her ex. They had these embryos and she wants to destroy them, but he doesn't want to destroy them. He wants to keep the embryos because that's a part of him, and she wants to destroy him because she's married to another man and she wants to move on. He wants to keep them, and they're in court battling back and forth, and it is just a sticky situation. And now Evelyn has 9 embryos. It's very apparent that her ex doesn't want them, and she's conflicted because that is a part of her, but it also is a part of him. So she has to have his permission to insert those children into her body, because that is going to be a child that he's going to be responsible for. Because to be honest with you, he can't write his rights away. He can legally, but it's just going to look bad on him. And like I said before, baseball is all about the image, especially baseball. Like, you got to keep a certain kind of image. So it's just a tricky situation. And then if she doesn't do anything with the embryos and just stores them, that's a good $20K a month, because it's very expensive to store those embryos. So I don't know what she's going to do. It's unless she makes up with that dude and gets back with him and then just try to shoot them all in her body and see what happens. I don't know, but that's very expensive, and no tea, no shade. I don't think she got that kind of money to keep those embryos on ice for years to come. That's really, really, really expensive. And also, she still wants to be a mom. She still wants to have another child. So it's just a sticky situation, and I feel bad for her, because her not being in this relationship anymore, it makes her have to make a difficult decision either way. And in a lot of ways, it's like a finality for her. So yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that situation. This is why I think Shoni should be off the show. She'll never, let this go. I think she needs to leave the show and do her Shoni at home with her kids thing, and just collect a good coin from this franchise, because I don't think that the women can honestly be real around the EP and creator of the show. It's just, of course, there are multiple producers or whatever and EPs or whatever, and it's also, at the end of the day, the network's decision, but it's still uncomfortable working with your boss because you can't really be honest, and I don't think that real friendships are able to be formed or real alliances are able to be formed because they're making sure that they dot their I's and cross every T with Shawnee. So she's on the show, but she's untouchable. And then also, she's always going to be stuck in this position of, you like this person more than you like me. You have more favoritism with them than you have with me. You're giving them a better storyline than me. You know, it's just always going to be an issue with having her on the show, because here we have Tammy and Evelyn. And now Tammy is feeling like Shawnee is a better friend to Evelyn, because when she did her comedy show, she didn't laugh at the joke about Evelyn, but she laughed at Evelyn doing a Tammy impersonation. And from what we saw, that could be a possible reach. You know what I mean? Like not possible reach, but it's a possibility. It does make sense from the way it's set up. But I also think that Evelyn was making fun of Tammy in a way that was more lighthearted than the jokes that Tammy was making towards Evelyn, and I think that that was just uncomfortable for Shawnee to laugh at a joke like that when it's being filmed and in a public space. They were at a gym having a good time, just laughing about Tammy's walk, but I can understand where she's coming from, and I know who told her, the producer. Okay, ain't nobody else, she ain't heard from the grapevine from nobody else, she heard it from a producer. So I understand, I honestly get it, but I just feel like having Shawnee in the mix is always going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable to watch. It's going to be uncomfortable for the people on the show because they can't be real because their boss is sitting over their shoulders watching them in every scene. It's uncomfortable, and I know she doesn't want to leave it because maybe it feels good to be loved on television. Like, this is the thing. Rich people are not okay with being rich. They also want to be famous. They want to be famous more than they want to have money, which is why a lot of them open up their homes and the IRS comes in and takes everything that their scammer behinds have consumed, because you're letting the world into your life and you're living this lavish lifestyle and you don't have the receipts to back it up. But they will much rather go through that process because it gains them fame than to just be wealthy. So I'm thinking that she has the money, she has the status, but she also likes having a fan base. And that is why she's still on the show. But I just don't think she fits anymore because it just doesn't, she's not season one Shawnee, you know what I mean? She's a producer, making decisions, being very smart. She's a businesswoman, very strategic. I feel like she's more fit for her at-home show where she's a mom and with her kids, Shawnee in a house or something like that. I think that's more appropriate than her being on the show, because I just don't feel like we'll ever get the girls being real when she's around or while she's a part of this cast. Even when Tammy said the comment, she was like, you know, I think she called her a B-I-C-T-H, and I think and when she said that, my immediate thing was, oh my goodness, Shawnee's going to be mad. And not for entertainment purposes, but because she's a producer of the show and I saw what she did to Brandy. So I don't know, that was just uncomfortable for me, and I was just like, you know what, sis? You don't need to be on this show. You really, really don't. You kind of take the realness out of this fake reality TV show. You know what I mean? Like, I do know it's a reality TV show, so they're going to give us a show, right? So a lot of things are fabricated or reshot. I get it. But I just feel like with her in the mix, it just adds another layer of fakeness. And it's not a good combination, in my opinion. And now we got Tammy in her feelings, mad at Evelyn for making fun of her walk, ready to spill all the tea that Jen told her about Evelyn when they were on the outs. And I'm here for it, because I think that that's finally going to like spark something in Jen and just really get this season going, because the first episode was okay. The second episode, I'm getting into it, but I feel like we need something to really get these ladies out of this bland storyline, because at the end of the day, guys, they're really friends, so they're only going to do but so much, you know what I mean, to not offend the other person. And I feel like this, because I feel like Tammy is really in her feelings, I feel like this is going to give us something organic in this season. And I've always felt that that is what's missing from the Basketball Wives. It's not organic anymore. But this little messy moment with Tammy, that's going to bring up some real organic things. Maybe a drink or two is going to be thrown. And then we're going to get a good season. Just wait. So OG, it's a lot. It's just a lot. I felt like we got a lot of extra. See, this is the thing, right? I'm not saying that you don't come on TV and make this your moment and do what you got to do. Don't let me see you acting. You know what I mean? Don't let me see you being thirsty. And I feel like a lot of what she was doing just in the few minutes we were introduced to her, I was just like, time out. You know, what is it? Flag on the play. It was just a lot with the butt. And then we got a clip of her like shoving her vagina and her coochie in another chick's helmet. And then the lifting up the behind and flicking the shorts. And I'm just like, sis, no tea, no shade, but you ain't got no donk like that to me. You got my donk, sweetie. You know what I mean? And at this stage, I got a little bit more than you, okay? It ain't that fit, but I'm just saying it was just a lot. It was just a lot. I felt like, you know, especially when she was like, I don't know, it was too much for me, and I'm just like, ooh, OG, ooh, OG. I'm gonna keep an open mind, but yeah, she's already annoyed me. Oh gosh, Jackie, this is the thing with Jackie. I'm sick of her storyline. I'm sick of her being like unstable, deranged Jackie who is extremely sexual and disgusting and talks about having sex with her husband in his private parts and, you know, possibly having sex and being attracted to women. I'm over it. I didn't need the scene of her like drinking beer and looking at the women bend over and talking about their titties and then telling, you know, OG that, you know, her middle-aged vagina was getting excited. I don't need it. We're over it. I feel like the viewers have told this show, we don't want that, but they still give it to us. They still give this Jackie character. We want a revamp. We want something different from her. It's uncomfortable. A lot of times it's not believable. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this character of Jackie. I'm sick of it. I want something else. I like how these ladies are trying to like defame and make fun of Cece for possibly meeting athletes at the gym. Like y'all all don't do the same thing. Like this is what bothers me is when women who hoe get with a guy and get out the game or whatever, all of a sudden, because you're the wife now and no longer the hoe, you are looking down on women who are doing the same thing that you were doing. Let's be real. A lot of y'all get with these guys because it's money and it's an opportunity for you to get to a wealthy lifestyle on an accelerated path by using sex. Then when you get there, you all of a sudden forget what you was doing. You all of a sudden forget that you was posted up at the athlete gym, that you was posted up at all the games, that you found out where all the athletes went for dinner and was posted up, that you was doing all kinds of $40 make you hollers too. So, and I hope that's not racist. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I just don't like when they do that. It's just like, we all know what you all have been doing to attain a certain kind of lifestyle. Because we're women supporting women, we're not calling you on it. So please, just because you got a baby by a legitimate professional athlete and was his fiance for whatever amount of time, don't look down on the next chick trying to come up the same way. If not, support the heather and give her tips on how she can do this without going through everything that you went through. Help a sister out. Don't tear her down. So Evelyn will call Chad if her life was on the line. This is not smart, Evelyn. This really, really isn't, because she's talking about how Chad would be there for her. Then she starts talking about she doesn't know what she's going to do with her embryos. I'm like, why are we discussing Chad and your embryos? Evelyn, don't do it. Don't do it. For your own safety, for your own sanity, and for your career and your image on this show. Sis, it's not smart. You know what I mean? Like, he headbutted you. Y'all can't make up and move on from that. But just the way she was talking, I felt like she was like softening up to him. And I was like, sis, Lord, if she goes back to him, it's going to be good TV. Can we tell the truth and shame the devil? I don't want her to. But if she's going to go back to him and it's going to be on this show, I'm going to get my popcorn ready. But I'm going to pray for her, though. but I'm gonna get my popcorn ready. Please let Ayanna Van Zandt come on the show as well. Listen, if we gonna go there, if y'all gonna give us a show, give us a damn show. This is the way to do it. I don't approve. I'm just saying. So I agree with Tammy. Jen is being very messy, but listen, she got to give us a show. There has to be somebody taking back information. And I'm thinking that Jen had to come back stronger this season or with a stronger storyline, because last season she was the weakest link in a season of weak links. You know what I mean? And so for her to be the weakest amongst that meant that she really had to turn it up this season. So listen, a girl is messy, but props to her because she's giving us a show. The only thing I don't like is this like prostitution storyline that they're trying to give Cece. I think it's ugly. They could have went with something else, but it's just like when all of you girls are doing the same thing, to look down on another woman who was possibly doing it or who isn't. It's just uncool. It really, really is, because Cece is really hurt by it. She feels like she's made her career, and to have people associating prostitution with her spa, it is bad PR. And I know that people say bad press is good press, or any press is good press. But when people are saying, first of all, you're a woman who's Asian, right? And in a lot of people's eyes, yes, she's Filipino, but you know, a lot of Americans, no shade, are ignorant of other people's cultures, right? To say that this Asian woman has a spa that's also a front for prostitution is one of the biggest sex trafficking stereotypes out there. That's placed upon Asian women. And I just think it's ignorant. I think it's really ignorant to go down that road. And also to put that woman's business in jeopardy. It's just, I can't rock with that. But the other messy stuff that Jen is doing, I'm here for it, because Tammy is the right one. She had a private conversation with Tammy. She takes this information to the group and try to be messy. And I'm just like, Jen, you're not ready for Tammy. You could barely take on Evelyn. You took her abuse for seasons and then decided to become her friend because it was better to be her friend than her enemy. You ain't seen nothing yet in Tammy. You better stay woke. Also, I get Malaysia defending her family, but I'm glad that Cece also was just like, listen, my name is on the line as well, not Byron. And Malaysia's just like, well, you don't want Byron to be attached to this woman that's giving happily ever afters or whatever, because love Malaysia, love her to death, but whoo, the lights are on, but nobody's home. Anyway, I felt like she was really going hard on Cece about Byron and was not really concerned that Cece was being made out to be a sex worker. No shade, but if that's not what you're doing and people are saying it to demean you, it's a problem. And I just felt like she totally overlooked that and went to her family, which I can understand. But I mean, you're talking to this woman who she is just finding out all of these details about this rumor going on about her, and you made it about your cousin. Like this Hollywood madam spa sex trafficking happy endings ring, whatever, that Cece is allegedly running is making her more likable to me, because I feel like it's giving us something real from her, despite the pomps and circumstances that she was putting on when she first was introduced to the show. I feel like this rumor is really something that's shaking her out of her persona or her performance that she's giving us, and she's really able to open up and give us something real and organic, because this is something that could really damage her. So she's not in a space right now to be performing because she's legitimately hurt. And oddly enough, it's making her likable and real. This confronting of Jen was so anticlimactic. They could have just kept it out. Like, Cece, I felt like she handled it in a way that she would handle it. Like, she addressed Jen. And why did they address Jen without Evelyn when she was the one who was saying these things as well? I don't know what happened with like the scheduling for this scene, but Evelyn should have been there as well. But it was a very anticlimactic scene. They're all talking in their confessionals about what Cece should have done. Nobody said it in that moment. Then Tammy gets sweet potato fries and leaves. And then Jen runs out and she's just like, well, I did that because I needed to know who I was around. Really? Look at the crew you run with now. And then Tammy is just like, you're around the home wrecker, so what are you talking about? And then Jen doesn't want to say anything. It's just like, I don't like how they demean another woman who's doing or exuding the same behaviors that they either still have or had back in the day to get to where they are at now. Why are you hating? Are you mad because your time is up in the club? Or are you really now so above it? I think it's the first thing. Who would have thought that Tammy would be the voice of reason? Everything she said to Jen was right and on point, and it's unfortunate that she had to say that to a woman in her 40s. Like, I just felt like this is just wisdom that you learn like early 20s, late teens. I just couldn't believe that Tammy had to tell this to Jen And like, really, she said in a heartfelt way, she was not trying to tear her down. She was just like, you basically said that this woman was a prostitute, and she's not saying anything that you heard about her, so why do you have to say these negative things and carry these rumors about her? Now, we know as viewers that she's doing this to get some things started, but you still look, you look poor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not poor financially, but it just doesn't look good on you. You look, it's just a terrible look for you, Jen, and I hope you get something else because this was not right. Ironically, it had to be Tammy, who is normally the hothead of this cast, to be the one to tell you what you're doing is wrong. Tammy showed you the error of your ways. Child. Since we're here on Tammy, this confessional look, I was trying to, you know, find something else to say about it, but it gives me Balmain if you buy it off of eBay. And it's like $22 with $60 shipping. You know what I mean? It's just, I see what you're trying to do, but it just looks so knockoff-ish. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even think Balmain made that dress in that color. I wish she would have went with something else because this is like a main confessional look for her, and we keep on coming back to it. And every time we come back to that dress, I just, you know, it just shocks me. You know what I mean? Like, the counterfeit of it all just punches me in the face. So the episode ends with Evelyn just in limbo, and an emotional limbo, about what to do with her eggs or her embryos. Girl, I don't have no advice for you. The doctor don't have no advice for you. She can't even do embryo adoption because Charles, whatever his name is, he has to sign that over as well. So I don't know what she gonna do with them embryos, and it's really unfortunate because it's expensive. It's expensive to keep those embryos on the ice, and like, again, I don't think she has that kind of money. I think she got money, but I don't think she has that kind of embryo on ice for a few years or even a few months kind of money. Anyway, that's where it ends. It was an okay episode. I feel like next week is going to be a little bit more interesting because I feel like the introduction of Neo, the football girl, I think she's going to spice it up a bit as well. So I'm interested to see how she plays within this cast member of ladies, and we bring up the situation with Jackie and Evelyn again. And at this point, I'm over it. I don't want that to be brought up anymore. I don't think it worked last season. I don't think it's going to work this season. And we also get to see the girls break down Cece by calling her a prostitute. But I'm glad that she's filming in her business to show that it's legitimate. But it's unfortunate that this is like episode 3 and she's going to be in tears already by what these mean girls have done to her. But I'll be there to review it, and I hope you stop by. Thank you so much for joining me, and if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you next week for the following episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Basketball Wives LA. I'm sorry, they're all starting to run together at this point. I think I said The Real Housewives because they use so many Real Housewife references. The bone carrier. There was something else that they said that gave me Real Housewives, and I was just like, why are y'all using Real Housewives lingo in storylines? Like, get original. This production needs to shake it up. I really feel like they could have something good here if they put in any kind of effort. I just don't really feel like there's enough effort going into the show to give the viewers what we deserve, especially the ones who have been watching this show since season 1 and since all different kinds of branch off, you know, seasons or shows from this franchise. So I feel like we deserve better for the viewership that we have been given this show. And so far, I don't think we're getting it. But it's still early, so we'll see. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to bed. See you next week, guys. Bye.